about law and order because he never talks about justice. But black people fall for that same argument and they go around talking about lawbreakers.
Ragtime, we demand you communicate through the landline. Motivation, the more you hate that we
yo, we out here. Your boy talking about white girls. Your boy going to Carnival.
Wake up. It's the first of the month. But it's the fourth. But you know what I mean? I can't play September anymore. The time's gone, but
it's a spooky month now.
It is a spooky month. A lot of people's handles are now spooky things. We're gonna talk about something relatively spooky here in a moment.
Yeah.
I'm bringing my expertise finally to light. I've been an amateur.
Don't air this in Mississippi, backwoods Louisiana,
almost all of Alabama, Missouri
for sure,
Kansas, except for Kansas City.
Yeah. If you're outside of Kansas City, city lines, then please don't.
Or the athletic dorms in Lawrence.
Oh yes, that too. That's important. That's an important distinction. Yeah. Thank you.
We're looking out for you, random black guys that always go to Kansas.
Yeah.
Shout out.
South Carolina, unless you're like in Columbia a little bit, and Charleston. Charleston is kind of as well.
Let's see. None of Tennessee that's not the big four cities, and right. Murfreesboro. I'll give you Murfreesboro, but like only Chattanooga, Knoxville, Nashville, and Memphis.
Yeah, Texas only Houston and just only Houston really. Yeah, Dallas too, because Dallas would be in there.
San Antonio, Austin.
Yeah, I'll give you Austin. Yeah, Austin, I'll give you that.
They got all Texas, yeah. But College Station, nah. Lubbock, hell nah.
Really nowhere in the United States. Like, don't try to go up to the north talking this bullshit.
Nope. Chicago, no. Boston, hell to the no. Maine, have you been to Maine? Maine.
I've not been there, but I know I don't want to be there.
No, I don't want to be there either. New Hampshire, I got a lot of homies there, but sorry. Rhode Island, couldn't be me. Connecticut, there are 12 black people in Connecticut. They're all living on Stephen A. Smith's forehead.
Can you believe it?
Nowhere in upstate or
International Airport there too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nowhere in upstate or Western New York.
No, definitely
nowhere
not.
in Pennsylvania. Period.
Yeah.
Philly, you're not even getting this love.
Yeah.
Not you.
I got a lot of love for Philly too.
And Baltimore.
Yeah.
Not Annapolis though.
I guess Detroit too. Detroit counts.
That's it though.
Yeah.
Nowhere in Indiana.
No.
Not even IU, just athletic dorms. Y'all just gonna have to cook.
Yeah.
Kentucky, Lexington, and Louisville.
Great recycling program, Lexington. Great recycling program.
A beautiful town.
Beautiful.
But Kentucky sucks. Fuck y'all.
Yeah. I'm not even gonna consider anywhere in between.
No flyover states? No.
Yeah.
Like, Minnesota? Hell no. Iowa. Please.
Montana, the Dakotas,
Nebraska,
nah. Idaho, definitely not.
I'm really all of Washington, only Seattle, and maybe just downtown.
Maybe
Seattle.
Maybe. Yeah, South Seattle for sure.
Yeah,
but anywhere north of that, nah.
Nowhere in Oregon. Sorry.
Nah, sorry. Even though Portland's got like a sizable black population, but they're slowly diminishing because of gentrification.
And
so
it's a terrifying place.
Yeah, and historically, they didn't like black people. Yeah. California probably is Oakland, LA.
Yeah.
The Bay Area.
Not San Diego.
Yeah, not San Diego.
Not Sacktown.
Nah.
Nevada.
Maybe Vegas.
Maybe. Arizona. No.
Nah.
New Mexico. Okay, New Mexico. I'll let you cook.
Wow.
Oklahoma. Please no.
I'll let Denver cook too. Denver's cooking a little bit.
Denver, and then we're back to Wyoming.
I don't know why we're back there. We're never to begin with. So
Hawaii
can cook. Yeah,
Alaska.
It makes sense. Nah, it's too
Florida.
isolated. Well, we're here, so
we are here. So I mean, we got to do it.
Yeah.
there's certain
Anyway,
places where you can't cook in Florida, and we'll go over that. Yeah. Every single downtown point in your state. This is a 17-hour podcast, folks.
Tune in. It's your boy, Mr. Velvet Hoop, Sweet Baby Angel, Jonathan Lingu, aka Mr. Labille Pogba, aka Rihanna's #1 not Sugar Daddy, aka Francis Gambaker's #1 fan. See you in Georgia. Well, that sounds kind of creepy. I will not see you in Georgia, but I will be a fan of yours if I see you on TV in Georgia. Let's say that.
There we go. It's your homie, Lewis GD Grant Lewis, aka Commodore Lewis, aka Erko Pobro, aka Ruud van Nistelrooy, aka
boy.
expert on the subject matter at hand today. By hook or by crook, I am here, folks, to we have a special. It's the international break.
It is the break.
I know you guys usually come here for your footy knowledge, your banter. We'll have that next week. Friday here, right down the street from us here in Orlando, could be the final the final gasp of U.S. MNT men's soccer for this attempt to make the World Cup.
Because
the Panamanians.
Panama, Panama.
Jonathan, high key, great singer, high key.
Thank you.
But
karaoke star,
rising star, one might say.
I'll give you an A+ for that reference.
But first of all, I guess we do have a little bit of football news. Orlando has made the cut down to the final 25 cities in Florida for a possible 2026 World Cup venue. So shouts out.
I can't wait to see the people they displays for this one.
We're not why weren't they? Oh,
yeah, because they do that like they did for Orlando City Stadium.
We just need another update to the Citrus Bowl.
The Citrus Bowl.
Yes.
Where is that?
You know what a Citrus Bowl is? Don't even try this shit. I drove by the other day and I saw
I could have sworn that
nope.
it's been
the devil is a liar. I've won this race. Don't let this. Some plebeians and carpetbaggers like to call it Camping World Stadium. That's a lie from the pit of hell. It is in fact the Citrus Bowl, home of no one. It used to be the home of UCF, Jones High School, Orlando City Soccer.
Yeah, sure was.
Orlando Pride. No, did they ever play there?
No, they didn't play there.
They never played there. Who else used to play it? The Orlando Rage. Throwback.
Wow. And
now since they brought the Citrus Bowl game back, it was the Capital One Bowl for a little over a decade. That's stupid. Now it's the Citrus Bowl again. Blessed.
Yay.
So that's
the Citrus Bowl at Camping World Stadium. What a ring.
It's a great venue. I enjoy it. I've got nothing. When I've been there, all I've seen is victory. 4 years of straight Superiors and marching band. You just know how we do. Light work, as they say, light work.
Wow. Did you ever dust dirt off your shoulders like that?
I had to.
Thanks.
But I guess that's the main football news. There are a lot of injuries, so the international break is good for both our clubs. Trying to get people healthy.
Kevin De Bruyne hurt.
Good.
Fabian Delph hurt. Company hurt.
All we got is a little tweak on Lukaku, but he's fine.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the big hamstring for Paul Pogba.
It's actually very fun that you bring Paul Pogba in. I'm gonna see him this weekend at Carnival.
Going down to Miami.
Soca Stars, where y'all at? It's about to be lit out here, man.
Pray for your boy.
Yes.
I've only ever been completely fucked up in Miami. I've never been down to Miami and just been like casual.
You were definitely on FUBAR status when you're in Miami.
Always and forever. That's what else do you do there? Like I don't think Miami's a casual town.
It's not.
There. If you're going to Miami, you're going to
even when
Miami.
You live there, it's not casual. Like either you are one side just completely gone and living life, or completely sad and broke and trying to figure out what you're gonna do with the rest of your life.
Yeah, Miami will hit you like that.
There's no middle ground.
Yeah, there's you're not towing the line down there, but Jonathan's going down there for Carnival, and he will see the homie.
Yeah, Paul
Pogba, who ironically that kind of segues into the special topic of today. What are we gonna call it? Are we gonna be gauche and just say dating white girls? Is that what we're gonna call it?
No, a white, dating a white.
It's something I forgot exactly how we brought it up a couple weeks ago. We talked about it for a long time before the podcast, and then we ended up doing a podcast on the top.
Oh, you know why this happened? Because of my experience.
Oh yes. Get out. It's the first of the month. Yeah, John had he had an ordeal, as they say, in downtown Orlando, correct?
In downtown Orlando, yes.
Do you want to give a recap, or do we want to keep it pushing?
I mean, gosh, I hope they don't hear this one day. They probably will and get
Shout
mad
out to
at
the
me.
homie Marissa, who told me explicitly when I finished this that she wants to hear it. So bless. Go Doors, anchor down. It's homecoming weekend. We're about to get our asses tapped, but otherwise, go Doors. And Marissa, this is for you. That you're very understanding. I look forward to your feedback.
First of all, it's a very weird situation to be in. To be obsessed about like this. And it's an historic thing, like how white women specifically view black men in terms of being very virile, very
as they say, studly,
yeah, as an object for sexual pleasure, and that's it. Nothing more, nothing less. So that situation is kind of weird. And you see the patterns, like you see the patterns in how people talk about you, how they view other black people, and it's like, I don't know. I think now I'm more aware of it because before I was not aware of it. Before it's much different when I was younger, because when I was younger, I just bypassed like the exotification, really being exotified. I just bypassed it because, I was not from the US. I moved here and I was automatically exotified and taunted a lot for being not from me. Like, my perception in my head was like it's being taunted by other black folks about where I was from, and then being dark skinned on top of that. So, as a mechanism to protect myself, it's like, oh, these white people really like me, and they don't say the same things that these people say. So I'm just going to feel this way, this way, that, and the other. And so that was the defense mechanism that I had like all throughout my teenage, well, not all throughout my teenage years, but coming up through middle school, because I started here in middle school, in the U.S. in middle school, and a little bit through high school too. I had that mentality. It's like, okay, I'm just going to go with white person because they might exotify me, but at least they are thinking about me this way in a way that they want to, do it. And, I'm, as a pubescent boy, you think, well, they want to go in, so I'm going to go in. Like, I have no issues with that, without really understanding the dynamics of why they want you and why they want to be with you. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's a big part, especially when you're younger. For me, my experience is a little different. I am from here, but my parents were the ones that, they're the first generation that went to college. They had a lot more disposable income than their parents did, and I was the only kid, so they sent me to private school. And first of all, if you go to private school in Knoxville, Tennessee, you're usually going to be the only black kid there. There are not that many of us in Knoxville, period, and definitely not at private school. So I was, and it was only pre-K and kindergarten, but I was the only black kid in my pre-K and kindergarten class. Then I moved here and I go to Catholic school, and Orlando's a lot more diverse than Knoxville. So I'd never met anyone from Vietnam before. So, we had like Vietnamese classmates and Korean classmates, but there are only two black people, and they're both girls. Very pretty girls, by the way. I'd holler at both of them right now. Sup, Feliciana, sup, O'Shea.
The call out. Okay. Like, hey.
It's funny. I see O'Shea sometimes. She and I are still friends. She still lives here. Her brother is actually a Vine star, and now he's a YouTube guy.
Nice.
Welly Boyce, if you've seen him. It's her little brother. He went to St. Charles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I've known them for a while, and it was different. But then Jonathan is right. Like, but they had grown up in that white environment too. So they loved the white boys, and I loved the white girls, and that was just. And for me, it was just how it was because like that's who your classmates were, so it made sense. And I lived in suburban Apopka. There are no black people on our street, so like I was only surrounded by white people. The only time I ever saw black people was at church. Granted, I had church crutches too. Don't get me wrong. Like I had crutches everywhere. I shot my shot and I was bricking. It was not good. Like let's not get it twisted. My dating life was terrible. And most of my formative years, all the way basically until college. Even a little high school was okay, but it wasn't that great. Also, I was being a nerdy black kid. So even in high school, I go from a class of 48 to a class of 1,000. So it's a big jump. And I go from private school to public school. Even then, it's Winter Park, and we're in IB. So in IB, you take all your classes with the same people for 4 years, and we had 8.5 black people in IB. And of those 8.5, there were 3 girls and 5.5 guys. Shout out Sam, Sam Sinyanwe, activist. Homie,
shout out.
Who was the half. He counted himself as the half black, half Jewish. He has his own story to tell. Maybe one day we can get him on the program. He also loves soccer.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So we'd love to get him on and just talk about stuff. I got his number. I'll text him. But for me, it was just like those who my friends were, and I realized it started to crew chicks. Yikes,
Freudian slip.
Irk my parents because every dance, all the dances I went to in high school, I took a white girl, and even in middle school, they saw some pictures of our 8th grade dance. It was just like me dancing with like Shannon's and Emily's. And we're friends, I still.
You're so beautiful together.
And like, there's one of those things where it gets to your head because you think, oh man, I'm accepted. I think that's the thing.
Yes.
Like, you think of it, you think it was a passport to some place that you wouldn't have access to before, where like there may be genuine feelings there, and I don't think you can knock those, but like your ulterior motives and their ulterior motives are something you always have to look into. And like I had genuine relationships. I would never say anyone that I've ever dated was not a genuine relationship, but I will say that I know people that dated because I date black guys or I date white girls and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the issue that we're trying to talk about here. It's like, again, like the mixed babies trend. Don't search that hashtag on anything if you like care about your own well-being, because you're just gonna see trash stuff.
Right.
And like, I think the main thing, Jonathan and I both being black men, is no matter what you do and who you date, it shouldn't be at the expense of black women. I think that's maybe the biggest issue that black men have in this realm, that I have with black men at least, is like it's retaliatory, which is so it's not just unbecoming, it's childish and stupid.
Right.
And I think that's something that we need to talk about too, like the retaliatory nature of interracial dating. I think that's something that we want to delve into.
Yeah, I think that really falls into black men, myself included, being insecure about who we are. And well, one, I think we talked about it last year, was around we see white women as like a status symbol of like how far we made it. So not only being accepted, but being like, okay, I'm rich, I have a white woman. That means I'm up in the world. And like you said, like it's sometimes subconsciously retaliatory, but it's just like you said, it's very demeaning for black women. Like you're doing it because you think that white women are above black women, which is not only a fucked up thing mentality to have, but it's a really insecure and painful thing that you're dealing with inside, and also you're projecting that out to the rest of the world and projecting it onto black women who are gonna internalize that themselves. So you're not only hurting yourself, but you're hurting the people around you that care about you and love you, and don't think about you in any sort of exotifying type of way to do, especially historically. It doesn't make any sense. So I agree. It's really strange. It's really strange. It's not strange to see that because I know where it comes from, just historically, and the fact that, that's what people aspire to, and people are telling you that this is what you aspire to. Like whiteness is the goal. So no matter what, as long as you have a white person, a white woman with you, you are achieving something. as opposed to being with a black woman and you're not achieving anything. They can help you success. So you see it a lot in professional athletes. I don't know what they're thinking about, but
I will say that like I think you see it a lot because they're in front of you. But like from what I've read, like the numbers aren't as high as we think. It's just like we see the ones, and it sticks in your mind more. Because I mean, if you really look at the top people, I mean LeBron, D Wade, Russ, KD. You know, they're not like even most not top people. They're not necessarily dating outside their race. The problem is like the ones that are say shit, you know, and they say stupid stuff.
Yeah,
and they're the few that say the right stuff. Because again, if you love, that's whatever. But like it's the what you say and how you do it, not what you're doing.
Yeah, because you internalize it and then you come up with like really stupid ass justifications for it. Like you look at Taye Diggs, and I love Taye. Well, I don't love him like that.
He was great in private practice.
I loved him in The Brothers. I think he was in The Brothers. He was in The Brothers. And Idina
Menzel. Yeah.
It is a great person. I don't know her personally, but I'm assuming
she sings very well too.
Yeah, excellent singer. They have a child together, and justifying it by using. I think he said something about like his child is.
He said he won't call his child black because he doesn't want to take away the fact that his child has a white mother.
Yeah, which makes
not very much sense in the context of America.
Right.
I think this is also a discussion that's specific to America because it's different everywhere you go.
Yeah,
I mean, England is very different there. We've talked about our light brights. Shout out Smalling, Walcott,
the good Deacon,
Lingard, et cetera, et
Dele
cetera.
Alli.
Dele Alli. But like Ross Barkley, Giggsy, the homie.
You had to mention him, didn't you?
The GOAT. Yeah, I had to mention the best player in Welsh football history. The best player on the island, too, ever.
Yikes.
So,
please continue.
But it's different there because we definitely have a different history, because most British slavery was decentralized from the island itself. There were some aspects of it there, but like it wasn't as just wasn't as close. Proximity was very different. Whereas here, the proximity is very, very close. So it's very different. And I mean, it's one of those things where you even look at, the election of Barack Obama, where you ask yourself, and this is something that he said, I don't doubt that Barack Obama really loves Michelle. But you also think that, like, if you've always wanted to be president, he knew that he couldn't marry a white woman.
I don't know if that's true. I think if he had married a white woman, he would have been good.
I don't
because you look at the structure that he's trying to enter himself into. It would have been totally fine if he had married a white woman.
I'm not sure about that.
Michael Jordan married to a white woman, like he's fitting into the status quo. Fine, like Barack Obama, on a personal level, probably great. He's a great guy, and like him and Michelle are ideal, worth aspiring to if you're a black person. But again, he doesn't represent just black people. So white people, if Barack Obama been with a white woman, white people would have still voted for him and probably would have been, just like white people loved Charlie Strong in Texas before they just ultimately turned on him. Which they did for him, they did for Barack Obama in anyway, like they've always done.
They're turning on Mr. College Station too, Kevin. Someone's taking that L hard. Yeah, I guess
he also has a white wife.
Yeah, he does. I guess that is a point. I don't know. I think I view politics different, especially because he was a Chicago politician when he ran for state senate. So I'm just saying, like, getting started, I don't think he would have made it there. Like, it would have been a little different.
If he was in Chicago.
That's what I mean. I don't think he ever would have gotten to the point where he could have been president if he hadn't. Whereas, like coming from different angles, like say if you're in the military, he could have done it. Like if he had just been Lieutenant Colonel Barack Obama and he had a white wife. I think it's a little different. But
no, I mean Clarence Thomas has a white wife. I'm saying like he's fitting, like politically, it worked for him.
Yeah, but that's also appointed. He never ran for anything. Running for stuff, the optics of running for things are very different.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that also needs to be that you have to think about.
But people there, I mean, I'm saying is like him being with like white people are not tripping over Michelle like black women are like that at all. Look at white people love Cory Booker. Cory Booker all up in these white girls.
He's
no shame.
Isn't he unmarried?
Yeah, but I'm saying like that. That's proves the point. Like it doesn't.
Well, like, he's also like Cory Booker is also. But again, how would Cory Booker have been the mayor of Newark if he had a white wife?
Yeah, probably.
I don't know.
Because it's not about
Newark was a very black run place. He beat out a long serving black mayor to win. Yeah,
but I'm saying like it sometimes, and I think this is definitely another issue is like just the rampant patriarchy within it. Because sometimes it matters who your wife is, sometimes it doesn't. In this case, for Cory Booker, he's a light skinned black dude. White people love him. Yeah. So therefore, it doesn't matter who his wife is. Now, if this was, who can I compare to? Some dude that's not mixed, just a dark skinned dude, the black wife from the hood, running for mayor of Newark. They probably wouldn't get that big of a pull from white people. Because you didn't. Well, yeah. Let me backtrack because then. In this, for Newark, obviously you don't have to appeal to the white gaze.
That was my point. It's more of a black.
But for the president, you do have to appeal to that.
Yes.
That's why Barack Obama doesn't matter. I mean,
I think that is the big thing about Barack Obama was if Barack Obama didn't have a white mother, I don't think he would have been president.
Yeah,
because he was safe.
Right.
And I think that's also one of the more interesting dynamics is who the parent is in the relationship. Because let's see. Who's a good example? Tracy Ellis Ross. Her dad's white. Her mom's black. And she's in Blackish. And Blackish, if you saw the latest episode, pulling no punches. They haven't been for a while. And God bless ABC, because I watched this episode and I was like, oh, word? So like
it's popular with people, so
I think
you gotta keep it going.
When it's your mom, because especially with a daughter. But again, you look at here's another good example. Maybe Tiger.
Tiger's a good example.
Having a black dad and an Asian mom, but
that's different because that's to do with interracial relationships between
minorities.
Yeah, other people of color, which is a whole other discussion in terms of
that's a whole other bag of worms. Who's a better example then? Go with the homie. Winter Park Wildcat, great. Austin
of course. Of course.
Go Wildcats. He's
but Doc is loved. Doc is loved everywhere he goes.
Doc is loved. And but Doc said that the first time, because Doc is from, I think he's from the Midwest, but he's not from I think he's from Chicago. Let's see. I want to know where Doc's from because this is a story I remember. He is from Chicago. I'm good. Doc's from Chicago, but he played ball at Marquette. So Doc goes to Marquette, and he gets his nickname, obviously, because Doc loved Dr. J, and he wore a Dr. J shirt to practice all the time. They just started calling him Doc. Funny. I like that. That's a cool story.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
But that's when Doc started dating his now wife, but then girlfriend, Christy Champion. Blonde lady. And he was in Milwaukee in the 80s.
Yeah.
And Doc said that's the first time he's ever been called nigger. Was when it was they left notes on his dorm and everything. But Austin grows up with his dad being an NBA coach, living in posh Winter Park, living on Lake Maitland, living the life, and he's been dating this blonde girl since high school. Still not married yet, but they've been dating. It's like 7 years. It's a long time.
Dang.
Yeah, a very long time because he was a freshman when I was a senior. So yeah, so like it's so different. Like for Austin, where it was easy, relatively. He also had the privilege of money and popularity and fame, but at the same time, his experience is so different from his dad's. Or I think that's very interesting, like to look at that juxtaposition.
Yeah, and Doc is a good point because even though I'm sure he experienced racism in Boston for sure, but the fact that he's light skinned, married to a white woman, he got a lot more slack coaching the Celtics, which were all black people in the starting lineup, than anyone ever could have had. Like if it was another black person that was not married to a white woman.
Yeah, that's true.
Just optics
had a
wise,
shield. Optics helps. I think that's another thing that that drives a lot of people as well. Optics, and I think, and this we can go back to our original point. I think that's one of the sadder aspects is like thinking you're gonna have prettier kids, so on and so forth, because like they're mixed. Like that, the idea of mixed kids being pretty. I mean, first of all, white babies look like aliens. I think that's a tried and true statement. But at the end of like eventually most babies get to a point where they're all cute. So like that's silly. And people turn out they look like you. So like really what you're saying is that like you're not handsome or you're not pretty if that's what you need.
But that's the thing, that's what people are thinking about because they internalize that. And so for one, you're presuming that you're like black people are ugly and you need a white person to make sure that you're not anymore. I mean, it's really all about anti-blackness because you can say that about. I think there was one time we went to the Magic game. This is why I got to meet Buddy Hield for the first time. Shout out Buddy Hield, 242. Where you at? East My Rock. Where you at? Shout out. So we were waiting for the post game interviews to happen. Like Alvin Gentry was out there. Shout out Alvin Gentry, man.
Alvin Gentry,
True G. And it was me and my friend. She's from the Philippines. And this one guy stopped us and he was like, "Hey, are y'all two like together?" And we were like, "No." Like she's never been to a game before, neither have I, NBA games, but we had like front row tickets. Like it was awesome. Shout out to Alex for hooking me up that one time.
That's real.
Yeah.
It's watching NBA game up close is very interesting because man, these people are huge.
Yeah,
it's so much. It's weird because like the closer you get, the more effortless it looks like basketball. From far away, like because everything's so much smaller, it looks like everything's hard. You get up close, you watch them take jump shots, and it's like, oh,
yeah,
it's really weird.
The court is much smaller.
They take up so much of the court, dog.
It's wild.
Yeah.
So he stopped me and asked, and we were like, "No, we're not together." And it's like, "Oh, okay. Well, I have a Philippine wife," and he was showing us pictures. He was like, I'm part of. Well, he didn't say I was part of this group, but it wouldn't be amiss if you said like I'm part of this group. Y'all should join. It's like, oh, y'all really good. Y'all should. I wish I thought y'all together, y'all, because I have a Philippine wife. I have all these children and all this stuff. And it's like, okay. You really took the time out of your day just to highlight that your wife is not black. She's specifically Filipino, specifically Asian. Like, it's that mentality, like, being black is never enough. It has to be something else to be better, quote unquote better. So I think that's where a lot of it stems from too. That's why seeing that shirt, it's like I immediately am turned off when I see like a mixed baby shirt or anything like that. Because like
that's the thing, like the industry of mixed people, and like again the industry and the community of it. Like I understand on a communal point, just like for especially if you're in a place where you don't have a lot of people of color. Period. I can understand bonding, like being together, like as children. Trying to find your place that way, but the parents putting that on their children is it's abusive, really. Like when you think about it, like you're saying, "Oh, my kid is special just because of whomever." Like, first of all, I'm a top 100,000 human of all time, so like the kid ain't catching me.
I'm a top 5 person in the world.
Oh, right now,
yeah, currently.
That means
as new babies are being born, I'm still top 5.
But like you're just putting so much on those kids, and that means that we for a fact that you're just not going to raise them the right way.
Yeah,
you're not like they're going to have such like diluted visions of self and race that like it can be corrected, or it could just go the wrong way. And sometimes it does. It's just strange. It's bad. Like that's poor parenting. to like foist that on your child. It's even poorer as you in a relationship for that to be the crux of your relationship. Not like actual love,
Right.
or an actual camaraderie and having things in common, but it's the fact that of what you guys look like. Like in any relationship, like that's like saying, "Well, my wife is tall, that's why I married her." Like you don't enjoy her company, like you guys don't like the same things. Like that's very strange. To me, that's strange. Like you should love someone and be with someone because you like them, not what they are to everyone else.
You're right. Again, it's a status symbol and it's a tool of white supremacy, really, to think that way. And even it manifests itself differently outside the United States, of course. Like England is the same things, just manifested differently. It's all like centered around white supremacy, and everything else is just white supremacy is the umbrella blanket that covers everything. Now it's interpreted the same way in the Bahamas. Like, we're very any formerly colonized country has that same mentality. Of course, it's very black love is pushed because black love is like the only thing you have because Bahamas is like 90% black, so you can't really go nowhere else. Uganda the same way, where my family's from. But being white or being with somebody that's white is such a symbol of your status, much like here, that you are, again, it's like the mentality, you will bypass the fact that you're being used, you bypass the fact that you're being exotified just to be with a white person. I remember I was maybe 8, 9, and I lived in this. I was living in Bahamas, and at the end of the street where I lived, there was these expats from, I don't know if they were from the U.S. or from England. It's either one or the other, but it's a white woman, and she definitely had like a trail of mandingos coming to the crib all the time. I didn't really notice because I was friends. Like she had like a little son, and I would hang out with him, but I would just notice like, just us random black dudes just keep coming up in this house. Like I don't know why they're there, I have no idea why they're there for, and I didn't really click to me until like I was a teenager and going into university. It was like, she's just here to have sex with as many black men as possible, and she doesn't really care about them, really care of what they have to deal with living in a post-colonial state where you're still oppressed, where you're still treated as a second-class citizen, even though you are your own independent country. They don't really care about that. They just really care about, I'm trying to get off, and I'm going to do it with you to prove that point.
I think that's another issue is like using black men. And it goes and you see like in some other European cultures, you see it using black women. Really like I've seen it more German, Dutch, even French. Those are the ones that are really either way using them as a just purely sexually is something that to me would be insulting. Like again, like that's the only reason I exist. Like I'm not a person that has other aspects or likes. It's just that's all I exist for. I think that's problematic, and I mean it is problematic. I don't think I have to say I think it is.
Right.
I can say definitively that it's problematic, and that's one of the other issues that goes along with this discussion is when you exist only as either a status symbol for one and a sexual symbol for the other. You have kids, and like, what happens then? Like, how can you ever have a healthy relationship? Like, I don't know, like, how can you be an old person in your 70s and just sit there and you guys both ain't got no teeth and your hairline's gone and your hair's gray and all that? And like, what conversations, like, what is your relationship then? And they don't last, and then it makes both of you look bad, and then it perpetuates these stereotypes about white women that date black men, and then black men that date white women and black men in general. Mm-hmm. And so at the end of the day, you just trying to fulfill some fantasy is not doing either you or your partner any good.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that you need to be introspective. But the problem is not a lot of people are introspective or that deep. And I mean, to be fair, I think there's something at the note. Most people are pretty poor at choosing partners. Not most, but a decent amount of people.
No, most is a good option, good way of saying it.
A pretty decent amount of people are anyway. So this could go anyway. But like doing something where like you're gonna ruin, where you could possibly ruin generations' lives, I think it's a much bigger issue than when you really look into it. And anyone that went to a big time college and had those friends, those white girls that just always happen to hang out with the football players and the basketball players, and you're just like, that's singular,
right?
And they just had to get one, and it's just so. And we were talking about this. You can almost always figure out the profile of the family, and it's either one or the other. So these are like, I guess these are definitely stereotypes. We're not gonna say they're not, but also this has been pretty spot on. They either come from the very strict, conservative, borderline or not even borderline racist homes where like it's rebellion, or they come from like the really permissive, love is love, like super hippie type homes where that may be the message, but the parents still don't want that to be the case.
Right.
So I think it's interesting when like that's who ends up being in those being the ones most adamant about these things.
Yeah, and like I said before, maybe now I'm aware of it now, but I've had many years of unlearning, many years of being in the right spaces where people can't tell me the dynamics between white people and black people and how that's manifested within gender, manifested within ability, just manifested in many ways. And a lot of people don't have that. Everybody's upbringing is different. So my awareness of it is something that's not, my awareness of it is not status quo. And so black people see that. Some black people see that. In this case, black men, white women. Black men see that, and they can't see the dynamics like that. They just think, oh well, she's gonna do it because she's rebellious, so good for her. Like she doesn't like. It's like they think that she gets it, even though she doesn't get it. She's actually using it she's just doing it to use you. People don't really understand it that way. So it's a tricky situation. It's hard to unlearn because again, you're sometimes you have insecurities. Sometimes you feel that they actually care for you, but they really people really don't. For those reasons that you just described, and so it's hard to shake off. White supremacy is hard to shake off. Let's just say that.
It always makes the tackle.
Yeah.
Say. I think another thing that I'm going to talk about is it's fairly recent that interracial marriage even became legal in the U.S. Across all 50 states. Loving v. Virginia was 50 years ago this year.
Yep.
And again, if you read the decision that the court wrote, it's very interesting. It's also interesting because seeing that Thurgood Marshall was on that court by then. Right? Yeah, he was there.
Yeah, he was there. He was there by then.
So, but the decision that the majority decision that came down, the reason why Loving v. Virginia, why they won their case and why Virginia could not ban their marriage, because the Supreme Court said that God granted white men rights and no court can take that away from them, even if that means marrying a negress. And if you think about it, it's very interesting. It's very similar in the patriarchal way to the fact that a queen, like Queen Elizabeth, can't make Prince Philip the king because only a king can make a king, coronate a king. So it's very based on that. It's like, well, yes, a white man can do whatever he wants. That's literally why interracial marriage is legal in the United States in all 50 states.
That's so wild. Even the landmark case that has helped so many interracial relationships stems from really racist defense.
Like overt. Like it wasn't even like, well, this isn't a states' rights issue because as an American citizen. No, they didn't say as an American citizen. They said a white man. And that's wild. Like a lot of people, most people have never read it because like it's a relatively like happy thing to think about.
Why would you read
why
that?
Why would you want it to be bad when you're reading like, oh, really? They ruin everything, man. It really does. Like nothing's sacred, as they say. So and that's something to look at also. Like it's interesting also seeing like white men do it for status, and in another way, like for like if you're a white man in a relatively black world, like being with a black woman, like also can solidify you the other way. And you're also a white man, so no one's going to question you. Again, going back the other way. Like if you look in the NFL, they're like obviously the kneeling thing's gone out the window and in the hell in handbasket. But the first white player to kneel was a tight end
on the Browns, right?
Yeah, the tight end for the Browns. He did it because he's married to a black woman. And he said, "I'm gonna have a black child." And don't know much about him. He could milkshake duck us any day, but he hasn't yet. And so, like, I'm impressed with his answer, especially for a white man to ever admit that their child won't be white. It's amazing. And so, like, and I think that's something that people really need to understand. Like, and again, Taye Diggs, man, if homie gets it and he's been he plays football, man, he's taking hits. Why don't you get it, Tay?
Well, I think a lot of black men. I mean, again, it's different because the white guy has nothing to lose by doing that.
That is also true.
Well, Taye Diggs, he might perceive that he has stuff to lose, but he also has stuff to lose because you're still in this system that is racist, that is, and it views you much differently than they do the dude on the Browns. Like Tom Brady has nothing to lose by saying that Colin Kaepernick should play in the NFL. Nothing to lose, not a thing. He will still be starting for the Patriots. He will still be receiving plenty of paychecks at the end of this season and the next season.
For the rest of his life. Hey, if Joe Montana can sell you Skechers, anything's possible.
Nobody's gonna be burning his jersey. Nobody's gonna be using it as a placemat, a foot mat. Like this is not gonna happen. He doesn't have to worry about that. So I see where Taye Diggs is still wrong in his approach, but I see why he would feel that way because you are trying to make it you're trying to make your career, and you are in an industry where I was talking about the Emmys where the guy from This Is Us, Sterling Brown, the first black to do this. Donald Glover, first black person to do this. The woman that wrote This is Master of None.
Yeah.
First black woman to do this. First black lesbian woman to do this. Yeah. Like he's in an industry where they've historically and literally stopped black people from achieving opportunities. So, and that still exists. That structure still exists. So I see where he's coming from. He's wrong, but I see where the doubts and the fears might lie in him saying anything other than the dumb shit that he said.
And that's the sad part. At the end of the day, it's it is kind. A lot of it can be a defense mechanism. And again, why do you want that to be the case for anything that you do? Like,
yeah,
like unless you're like unless it's driving on I-4. You shouldn't live your life in a defensive manner. Like you should try to do things as best you possible to like do the things that actualize you in the best way, like also in a communal way, in a way for society, not in a way for just you to. Because if you go to bed at night and you're not actually happy with the decision that you make, what's the point?
Right.
And some people are, but like if you're ever second guessing yourself and triple guessing yourself. And if you have to outwardly say such weird things and such defensive things, I think maybe you made the wrong choice.
I think for black men, in this case, for black men, I understand Taye Diggs, but I think it just lacks a sense of bravery to do that. and I think people value the money over their self-worth at times, many times actually, which is what makes Colin Kaepernick's situation so admirable and so honorable, because he is from a mixed family. He was raised by white people, and he still has his belief. Like, I mean, many times, like it seems like many times, like light skinned people are they work extremely hard to prove their blackness. They're white people is the example of it. That's not going to that show, although I watch it, but I have my issues with it.
Interesting vignettes, good actors.
Yeah.
Delivery was a little off.
Yeah. So it makes it so much more admirable that he's doing what he's doing, and he's standing up for black people, whereas
and is standing up for black people is something that always gets people in trouble, no matter who you are. Again, white people were very comfortable with Barack Obama for a while, like he did, but the moment it turned was February 2012. Well, the first moment was definitely the beer summit.
Yeah,
how could a cop be wrong
right.
attacking a limping black man that wears stupid
at his house, at his own house,
who's a Harvard professor? Again, status shouldn't matter, but that is something that people take into account. But it didn't really matter to them.
Yeah.
But the big moment where people were like, "Oh, that's a nigger," was when Barack Obama said, "If I had a son, he'd look like Trayvon," and that drove people up a wall. It still does. That I've never seen reactions to that, and for me, that was definitely a turning point in my life, because I mean, Trayvon Martin was shot 13 miles from where I live, probably 13 miles from here too. It was a very local, and it became national. But before it became national, it was a very concerted local story. And him saying that, they're like, "Oh my gosh, how could someone empathize with those niggers?" and it's been like that ever since. And that really is when they're like, "Oh no, he's not one. He's one of them."
It was like white people were in a lull, and then like they snapped out of it. Just
they've been reacting ever since.
Yeah,
and they super reacted. 2016, but that's a whole other story.
I mean, it's just like a giant theme of anti-blackness, like you said, like you were referring to, and that's why, for me, again, you can't help who you love, but I find it very difficult for me personally, to actually even commit to being with somebody that's white, because it's a lot of unlearning you have to do if you want to get an interracial relationship. And everything that you do is a performance, like being for a Black liberation's performance, being for liberation in all forms, like women's liberation for trans people, liberation for people from other countries, definitely liberation from colonial imperialism. But in terms of relationships, well, I mean, those are all interwoven relationships too. But it's sometimes you want to be in a situation where you don't have to perform all the time, or perform as hard. I think in being with a white person, my assumption is that you have to perform every single day to help somebody unlearn. And that's just takes too much effort. Like, so some days where you don't want to feel that way, but you can't slip up at one point, because we're still in we still live in a white supremacist, capitalist, imperialist society. So you cannot slip up at any single point. Just like you can't slip up at work, you can't slip up doing anything. You have to be perfect.
Can't slip up driving home.
Yeah.
Certainly can't slip up in interaction with police anytime.
Yeah.
Anywhere really, because that could also lead to an interaction with police at any time.
Yeah. So you live in a world where you have to be perfect, and even being perfect is still not enough. So you have to be in a relationship where you have to be perfect, even when being perfect is still not enough. And I don't know if I can deal with that for the rest of my life. That's just too much, which is why, not a preference, but it's easier for me to be with somebody, a person of color, as opposed to a white person, because there's just too much that I have to do.
No, that's totally understandable. And any relationships work. So adding any layer is just more work. And there's just a lot of stuff something that you'll never be able to overcome. But again, I think our message is to each his own, but we hope that if you listen to us, you kind of understand what we're all about. I don't think we pulled any punches.
No.
But at the end of the day, it's sorry, I say that a lot. It's one of those things where you should be completely upfront with yourself and your partner about what you're getting into, and expect more. Don't lower the bar. I think that's also important. Because eventually you could have kids, and that's a big deal. Kids are a reflection of you, and they're a part of you, and you don't want to start them out on the wrong foot. So I think we had a pretty fruitful discussion.
I think so.
I guess we do have to backtrack a little on some soccer news.
So why Paul Pogba with a white? Why is he with a white in Miami? Black boy joy, Paul. Black boy joy.
She looks Spanish.
So, oh my gosh.
She look Colombian, dude. Like,
just because you speak Spanish doesn't mean that you're still ain't white.
Right, but like the native white. But I think a big issue that's going on now is still the Catalan vote on independence. It's apparently it passed. But Spain act like it didn't happen.
Of course, they tried to stop it from happening physically, literally.
Barcelona literally played a match against, I think, Espanyol.
No, it was against Las Palmas, in Spain, which in the Canary Islands, and they were wearing the Spanish flag during the match. I'm like, so y'all are just gonna accept the fact that your government just used violence against their own citizens?
And they literally played a match in Camp Nou from 0 people. It was surreal. It wasn't even like a practice.
Yeah,
I think 50 years from now, that's definitely going to be one of those iconic sports moments of one of the biggest clubs in the world playing a match, a league play, not a testimonial or anything silly, not a practice, but a real match, a real game in front of 0 fans because there's too much going on. Because
Spain won't let them postpone the game.
Protest. Because
if the fans went, they would have stormed the field and be like, hell nah, y'all niggas ain't playing right now. We got bigger things to worry about. Our independence.
How many of the Barcelona players are from Catalonia?
Piqué, Busquets.
Oh, wow. Those are relatively French names.
Yeah.
Frankish names, I should say.
Who else is from there? Those are like the only two. Like Iniesta.
Is he?
Yeah, he's from Barcelona. He trained in La Masia. Like he's from the academy, but not from. I don't think he's from outside of Barcelona either or Catalonia. I think those are the only two that get a lot of run. Obviously Xavi, Puyol back in the day, are from Barcelona.
Again, I want you to keep in mind, Camp Nou holds 99,000 people.
Shit.
And there were no people there. But this is interesting because this brings up a very, not just interesting, but what's going to happen if this goes through? Like, if they are if they break and they actually try to form their own government, will
Spain's not gonna let them back in.
So,
La Liga might not. I don't know why
La Liga might kick them out.
That would be stupid as hell because they're the second richest club in the world. But what can happen? Like literal options, they can just move to another country. They can play in France. They can play in England.
So they might end up being in Liga. They might end up being in. They could play in Serie A. Could play in the Premier League.
Yeah, they can really play anywhere.
I mean, because again, Europe ain't big physically. Nope. At least not where those clubs are. And that would be what a power shift that would be. Because then, that would be. Real Madrid would have a cakewalk for the rest of eternity, with like Atletico maybe sprinkling in once or twice, and Barcelona immediately wherever they go would immediately tip like the scales depending into their favor. And I think it'd be very interesting if they ended up in Liga. Yeah. Neymar having to make trips to Barcelona.
I mean, they've been like a rivalry.
Yeah,
Maybe not. Well, just for the people that just edge out like the Catalonians. Alexi Vidal
Oh,
is also from Catalonia. Jordi Alba is Catalonian as well. Gerard Deulofeu is Catalonian.
well, I didn't know Delafeu.
Mm-hmm.
That's very French.
Yeah, and I think that's for the people that are on the team right now, that are in the 25 that Barcelona plays. So they have a sizable
That's
amount,
a decent amount.
and they can all like PK's the only one that's getting a lot of stick from supporters because he's like very open around like independence, more so than anybody else. However,
I mean, it makes sense on multiple reasons for PK. He's nearing the end of his career. He is from there, and he's married to a super mega star who's relative humanitarian. So, like, I think he's the one that, I mean, can be the most and would be the most likely to be the most outspoken.
yeah,
Besides, just can be. So,
but he's been that way, man. Like,
yeah.
Pep has been that way. Like Guardiola's definitely for independence of Spain or independence of Catalonia. But I mean, I think the best thing Barcelona could do is try to stay in La Liga because they're already dominant. I mean, they can be dominant wherever. So either they're Liga on. Like the president of La Liga is already like, no, we're not gonna let you in. It's like, okay, well, you better lose about $500 million, so you better yearly, so you better be ready for that. I think Liga makes sense. Like they could dominate. They could dominate and still play. And it'll be Barcelona, Monaco, and PSG, which is already better than what it is in Spain right now.
Yeah, because Spain's a 2-horse race.
Mm-hmm.
But man, La Liga's fucking up the money if they stay that petty. Obviously, the Spanish government wants to be that petty, but
it's an extension. They're an extension of the Spanish government because Madrid is like Real Madrid was like Franco's team.
Yeah,
and Franco is a staunch nationalist dictator. So I don't know why I'm drawing the connection between that. That's want to throw Real Madrid under the bus, but that nationalistic pride, and this is the issue I have with this. Like, I had this argument with my somebody that I know on Facebook around the flag and what it means to be national pride here in the U.S. run NFL. I'm like, bro, you're playing in Barcelona that is rejecting all these notions that you're just talking about now that we're dealing with in the U.S. Like, how do you not draw the parallel towards it? Makes no sense to me. Apparently, makes no sense to him. He had no idea what I was talking about, but it's all good. So, I'm interested to see what happens when they actually are ready to declare independence and like with the violence. There's going to be violence. There's already violence stopping them from voting, so I can only imagine what the violence is going to be like now that they're trying to partition and be a separate country, and how players are going to react to that. Messi's been trying to go, so
that's true. That'll get Messi out of that tax.
Yeah,
that
Messi's gonna be out the paint. Suarez, Neymar's already gone, so you ain't got to worry about that no more. Suarez probably will leave too. There's so many potential things that could happen in terms of that.
Yeah, so it's more than just on the pitch. This is a humanitarian issue going on. So I think that's something we're gonna keep watch over. I mean, gosh, they'd have their own national team.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
They play.
That would be a big. Most of those players that you mentioned are older, but I guess we'd have to look on the other teams too. Like, how many of those players would leave?
Mm-hmm. Actually, Iniesta is not from Catalonia. He's from Albacete, which is I don't think it's in Catalonia. I'm trying to see it now. Somewhere. Yeah, definitely not. Either way, yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see because they've had a team. Catalonia's had like a national team. They're not recognized by anyone because they're not a country, but they played friendly matches before, and this is way back in the day when Puyol was still starting for them. Yeah, they're
Is that back when Scholes to that rocket?
sure. Back then, whatever. So they have like it's a Catalonia representative football team. So yeah, they're not affiliated with FIFA or UEFA. And because like, you know, Spain, if you're Catalonian, like you're Spanish,
right?
Technically, so. Let's see who played. A lot of players from Espanyol have played. You know, Xavi still plays. Actually, I forgot that he still plays. Sergio Roberto. Interesting. So it'll be interesting to see. Oh, Fabregas. Fabregas is also Catalonian.
Oh yeah, I knew that. Cesc. He threw a pizza at Sir Alex Ferguson.
He's finally let the cat out of the bag.
What a bum.
Go on, Cesc. Go on, Francesc.
I can't wait to get Chelsea out of the paint this year.
Oh yeah, they're already out of the paint. They're already out. So we'll be fine. We don't got to worry about Chelsea for another few years.
So I guess we can leave you. Our parting thoughts are, man, USA is gonna fuck up the money.
But that's good. I'm not trying to see Trump and Russia meeting up with Putin, chilling. Like a U.S. outside of the World Cup is probably the best thing that we could do in terms of geopolitics right now.
Yeah.
Sorry, USA. I'm just being real. For our sake. I'm actually doing this for the United States, so be gracious.
No. As much as I don't want us to, I still want us to prosper.
Sure.
But when we don't make it, I won't be terribly sad because
I'm not gonna be sad at all. That's actually gonna be really helpful for me to actually watch the World Cup in peace. I root for France. Yeah, go Pogba.
Get that white.
Hey,
I can't wait. England's gonna fuck up the money, so at least I'll have someone else I know guaranteed to fuck up the money in the World Cup. That's not us.
I'm hating on Pogba, but the one girl that he's been seen with is actually really beautiful. I'm probably very smart, so hey, good on him. Good on her too. Again, you get help who you love, so shout out to Pogba. Anything else for us?
Yeah, if you go to Epcot, don't get too turned. Alex Morgan and Mr. Morgan, Servando, and the rest of the Pride/City.
Hey man, City's already in the shit, so they don't have to worry. They can just get drunk, whatever.
Pride, we got a champion.
Pride got something to play for. Yeah,
we need to bring home that title, ladies.
Go Pride.
Go Pride. That's the team we root for. Only Pride we accept a lot of Pride. The
other Pride that we acknowledge.
The other Pride that we acknowledge. We acknowledge multiple Prides. We can do that.
Right.
And Mufasa's Pride. Simba's not so much, but Mufasa's for sure.
The Mufasa Pride is the imperialist structure, so I cannot support that in any way, shape, or form. But the other prides I can't support unless they are accepting of the police marching in their parade, which makes no sense to me. Yeah. But hey, that's just the way it is, I guess, for some white people. Anyway, I got nothing. So I'll see y'all after Carnival.
Yeah, God bless. Have fun.
Thanks. I will. I will have a lot of fun.
Do have too much fun.
I'm not going to tell you not to. Man. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, gosh. If I see...
Don't twist your ankle dancing in the street, fam. It's real out there.
I know.
That's something that I think is very underrated. Street dancing injuries. Streets are not, they're not, your feet are not like tires.
I'm going to whine responsibly. How about that?
There we go.
Thanks. All right, y'all. Peace.
Later.
Off the shores of the Golden Road, we took blows to the mileage. Only to find the ambition was a fallacy. Taylor karma, slave to the laws for the universe to come back and haunt you. Yeah, now the dusk is upon us. Right to the element, right definitive lines of conscience. Word, this is what they wanted, this what they wanted. Speak to me now before I decide to be unresponsive.